my name is Miranda and today I'm here to review the book and movie Stargirl. Now the book came out a while ago and I swear I thought I had read it back when I was like a kid when it came out, you know? But then when I picked it up to reread it again recently, like within the last like couple weeks before the movie came out, I realized that it didn't feel familiar at all. For some reason I thought it was one of those Carl, I don't know how you say his last name, Hansen or whatever, the guy who writes like Hoot and all those ones. I thought it was one of his books, but it's actually Jerry Spinelli. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a book by Carl that like has a similar premise, like maybe has girl in the title or something, and that's what I read, because I do remember there being like a book about like that like kind of minimalist cover, you know, where they just have like one thing on it, and Jerry Spinelli and Carl Hiaasen are their books are both like that, their covers. So I'm thinking maybe it must have been one of his books, because like honestly I remember reading a book, but Stargirl, like when I was reading it, did not feel familiar at all. And usually like there are some books that once you read them again you're like, oh yeah, I read this, I know where this is going. Not my thing with Stargirl, but I did want to read the book, or reread it, or read it. I still don't know if it was a reread or a read, but I wanted to read it after seeing the trailer for the movie. I also really wanted to see it because it had Grace Vanderwaal in it, I think is her last name, and I love her so much. I think she is so adorable and like a little mini Taylor Swift and so talented, and I watched her season of America's Got Talent when she won and it was just so awesome, and now for her to like be leading an actual movie is just so amazing. And I thought she really was like the perfect fit for Stargirl. She, I think, kind of have that like quirkiness, but also like obviously the musical talent is there with the ukulele. I think she really plays the ukulele in real life. So like all the songs that Stargirl was singing, like that was actually like her, like she could do that. So I thought that was really, really cool. And the main thing I think with reading the book and then watching the movie so close together is there is, I would say the message overall is the same, but they do feel pretty different. They make some significant changes in the movie where both Leo and Stargirl are raised by single moms. Leo's dad died, and that's kind of leads into his porcupine tie obsession. It's his connection to his dad. In the book, it was just like he had an uncle that did it. It was just kind of like a random thing he found and liked. So I liked it, gave it a more emotional weight to things, I think, in the movie, and that makes sense because, you know, in the book you have 100-something pages to kind of come across all this emotion and everything like that, whereas in the movie you have less time, obviously, to explain the whole story. And in the ways they changed that, I wasn't necessarily so upset because I felt like it worked for a movie. Like the whole entire book is about like the year with Stargirl, and there's different seasons. Like obviously the big thing where people start turning against her is during the basketball season, and in the movie it's the football season, and that just kind of makes more sense because movie wise you don't really want to see them go through like a whole football season and then a basketball season. Like it just made sense, I feel like, to condense it as much as you possibly could. And I think again that's what happened with like the porcupine ties being about his father, Leo being on band. Like they just kind of made it so these connections were a bit closer together, and it made it so it was easier to understand and kind of easier to see where they came together. I do think Stargirl 2 was pretty different. I wonder if it's because you got to see more of her, whereas obviously in the book you only kind of see from Leo's point of view with things, but in the book to me she felt kind of more ethereal, like this kind of just magic thing that showed up, and she was just so wholly herself and self-assured with everything and just went out there and was outgoing and did everything and just owned it. In the movie, which I actually like how they did it in the movie a bit more, she is more complex, I feel like. And I think it's also the way that Grace portrays her. She does a very good job of showing like her being shy, and I think it makes sense that she does all these stuff for people, but she's still very shy, and she's kind of, I think, unsure like any kind of 16, 17-year-old would be at that age, you know? Like she has these things she wants to do, but she isn't like 100% self-assured with it, and I kind of like that. It made her feel less more like, you know, the manic pixie dream girl and more like an actual fleshed out character who like this is what she wanted to do, but she understood that kind of like she didn't get fully the dynamics of high school and how everything worked like that. And even just like the first day that they showed her first scene, instead of just randomly singing happy birthday to someone, she sang happy birthday to Leo, and then I don't think we actually saw her singing happy birthday to anyone else, so it kind of made it seem like it was just like a Leo thing, that like she really liked him and wanted to sing him happy birthday. Like, she wasn't clapping when other people scored, she was only clapping for her team. They did keep in the part where she helped the player who got hurt, but like that to me was just, again, I feel like that's probably more of a being outside of high school now thing, but like it obviously, like, he needed help, and I think the fact that she left with him was what really cemented people. But like this movie, I feel like really showed me more so than the book in some ways, that she was seen as such a good luck charm by Leo, by the entire school, and then when your good luck runs out, like, you blame the good luck charm. And I think that's a lot of pressure to put on someone, especially like a young girl that just showed up, doesn't really have a lot of friends. Like, it was a lot of pressure to put on her. So I did feel bad when everyone started to turn against her, and I think they did a really good job portraying that, about how this tidal wave of people can be for you and can be against you so quickly, and it can move and change so quickly. Similar to the book, they didn't do too much with when Stargirl changed. She only changed really briefly, but you could definitely tell like how it was affecting her. She was less energetic, she looked sad, she looked more tired, stuff like that. And I really liked her realizing that, like, you know, if people don't like me for me, it's not worth it, because I'm not being genuine to myself at the end of the day, and that's the most important thing. I think her and Leo's relationship was so freaking adorable, and it was so cute seeing it portrayed on screen. Like when they had their first kiss and she like ran out and was like, wait, and then like gave him a kiss, and he was so happy. Like, you could just tell how excited he was. It was absolutely adorable. Like, I just really loved them, and I loved how you could see Leo's confusion as a 17-year-old boy and being like, I really like this girl and I wish other people could see her the way I do. Like, you could see it, I think, perfectly in the scene after she comforted the guy and went to the ambulance with him when he met her at her house, and he was kind of like, you don't get it, like, you're our good luck charm, you left, we lost, like, everyone's blaming you and everyone's gonna be mad at you. But then he was like, but I don't like seeing you sad, and he's saying to cheer her up. Like, that was really cute. I also like the addition of adding Leo to the prom. He didn't go to the dance in the book, which kind of stunk. The ending for me in the book was a little bit sad, because Leo and Stargirl never had like an official goodbye, and while they didn't really either in the movie, there was at least like an acknowledgement of forgiveness in the movie, and kind of acknowledging like, I like Stargirl for who she is. And it always makes me sad, both in the book and the movie, that like they never get to see each other again. I think the movie is left a little bit more open-ended than the book, because the book is Leo looking back on his life being like, I've never seen her again. The movie, to me, you only see him go to college, so of course, like, in my mind they could meet up later or something like that. But it was just, it was really cute. It was, I think, like, watching it, it made me feel like kind of like a Perks of Being a Wallflower vibe for like a younger generation. Like, if Perks of Being a Wallflower is for like 17, 16-year-olds, this could be for like 14, 15-year-olds, because it shows about like how you have to be someone, and like being yourself and going out for things even if like no one else does anything. That's the important thing. And you saw like all the trophies at the end, because people now had the courage to go out for things and do things that interest them and really try and win, and not just be happy with complacency and with not doing anything. And I think that's what the real message was don't be afraid to put yourself out there and do something you like, even if no one else really is doing anything. And I also think they made, like I said, Stargirl a more complex character, which I really liked. She was more shy, like I said, especially with like Leo. And then I also really liked how they made Hillary more than just like your average bully. Like, she had a real reason for not liking Stargirl, and Stargirl owned up to it at the end and explained that like, hey, that was on me, I didn't know that, and I'm not thinking about the other side of things. Like, to her it's just kind of very cut and dry, and she realizes that, you know, it's not as simple and easy as that. And I think that was a nice addition, because it shows that there's always two sides to every story, and sometimes both sides can be right, you know, like both sides have a point. So I really, really like that. I think Grace was such a good Stargirl, like I said. Like, her makeup with, oh, it reminded me of like, I don't know, I gotta find like that eye makeup, guys, like especially the band one where she had all the little stars over her face. I was like, I need this makeup, guys. It's just so cute. And I think, like I said, she really embodied that kind of eccentric but also like old soul vibe that Stargirl has, where she seems to know so much more beyond her age, but then could also be very vulnerable and very young, and realizing that she, as much as she knew about the universe, she didn't know the high school dynamics necessarily, because they're kind of messed up. And Leo tried to explain to her, you know, how it is but she was kind of like, why? Like, why is it like that? And, you know, he didn't really have an answer. He was just like, that's the way it is. And I think it was just a really entertaining movie. I think the book and movie are very different, like I said, but again, the message and theme is the same, so I don't think I can necessarily pick one over the other. I think I'd like to watch the movie more than I would read the book, just because of how they give kind of more depth to Stargirl herself, I think, outside of just like Leo's point of view and perspective of her. I really like that because it did kind of dip into like manic pixie girl, you know, like she's perfect and everything's a dream, you know, in the book. But I do like that the book has a bit more like elaboration with things. It's got more scenes with her, especially like the speech scene is really more laid out in the book and stuff like that. So if you read the book, definitely highly recommend you watch the movie. If you watch the movie, definitely highly recommend that you read the book. I think they go well nicely together, but separately they, like, you won't get the full picture from just one of them, you know? I think, like, you can't be like, oh, because I read the book, I get the movie. Oh, because I watched the movie, I read the book. Like, I get the book. You have to do both, and I think they complement each other really nicely, which is kind of a good thing, you know? That's what you want with books to movie adaptation, for them to kind of take the story, even if they change it a little bit, and condense it, and it made sense, like I said, why they condensed it the way it was. So I really, really enjoyed both the book and the movie. Like I said, I think the movie wins out just by like an eek, but that's just because of Grace and Leo, and I feel like we got to see a little bit more of their relationship and their chemistry and just how cute and amazing they were together. So if you have seen the movie or read the book, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down in the comments. Also make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!